You know, when we talk about climate change, it's easy to think of it as just one thing, the world getting warmer. But really, that's just the first domino. The real story is the chain reaction that follows, a ripple effect that touches literally everything, from the cities we live in to our own health.
And you know, there's this incredible quote from the late geochemist Wally Broker that just nails it. The climate system is an angry beast, and we are poking at it with sticks. It's such a powerful way to think about it, right? We're messing with this huge, complicated system, and honestly, we don't know exactly how it's going to lash out.
So, let's just quickly cover the basic science here. Sunlight comes in, warms up the Earth's surface. The planet then sends that energy back out as heat. Now, our atmosphere has these greenhouse gases that naturally trap some of that heat, which is great. It's what keeps our planet from being a frozen rock. But the problem is, we're adding way more of these gases, thickening that blanket, and essentially turning the planet's thermostat way up.
So just how high is that thermostat going? Let's take a look at the big, global numbers that scientists are tracking, because these numbers tell a really important story about where we are and where we're headed.
Okay, I'm sure you've seen this number everywhere. 1.5 degrees Celsius. Back in 2015, with the Paris Agreement, this was the big, ambitious goal. It was basically the line in the sand that scientists said we should fight like hell not to cross if we wanted to avoid the absolute worst, most irreversible impacts. This was our best-case scenario.
And here's something you've got to understand. The damage from all this warming isn't a straight line. It's not like going from 1 degree to 2 is the same as going from 0 to 1. Nope. The Earth's systems can just snap. Each tiny fraction of a degree of warming actually does more damage than the one before it. The whole thing just accelerates. And that brings us to the really tough reality. The way things are going right now, even hitting that less ambitious 2-degree target, well, it's looking like a long shot. I mean, it's still physically possible, but it would take a massive global effort on a scale we just haven't seen yet. These global numbers can feel a little abstract, can't they? So let's zoom in. Let's look at a creature that has literally seen it all, to get a real sense of what this rapid change actually looks like on the ground, or, in this case, on the seafloor. So meet the horseshoe crab. This thing is a true living fossil. We're talking 445 million years. It lived through the single worst extinction event in Earth's history, the Great Dying. It was around when the asteroid hit that wiped out the dinosaurs. This creature is an absolute master of survival. But the threats it's up against today, they're totally different. See, in the past, big climate shifts took place over thousands and thousands of years. That gave species time to adapt, to evolve. What's happening now? Pollution, overfishing, and a climate changing in just a couple of centuries? It's all happening at once, at lightning speed. Just think about it. The ocean is getting warmer and its whole chemistry is changing. We're dumping 8 million metric tons of plastic into it every single year. We're creating these huge dead zones where nothing can live. And that gets to the real heart of the problem. Time. This ultimate survivor, the horseshoe crab, just isn't getting enough time to keep up.
And yet, it's trying. Researchers have actually seen some horseshoe crabs making this incredibly bold move into totally new mangrove habitats. It's an amazing act of adaptation, but it's a huge gamble, and we have no idea if it's going to work. And this struggle, this fight for survival, it's not just happening in the animal kingdom. We're seeing it in our world too.
Because just like the horseshoe crab's home, our world, our civilization, was built on an assumption of stability. And that assumption, well, it's just not true anymore.
Neil deGrasse Tyson put it perfectly. Our greatest cities, they grew over centuries based on a predictable climate. We built them to fit the world we knew. We built them to exist inside what you could call a stability zone.
So here's what happens when that zone breaks down. Climate change just shatters the old boundaries. All of a sudden, a storm surge hits New York City, and it's higher than anything the city has ever seen. It floods the subway tunnels because, well, they were never designed to be underwater. The old normal is gone, and now we're just scrambling to build for a new one.
And you see these moments where the stability zone is just gone, everywhere. An airport tarmac in England literally melting. Southern states in the US getting hit with record-breaking snow. And on the flip side, that same warmer weather in England means they're now growing champagne grapes there. The entire rulebook is just being thrown out the window. And this isn't just about weird weather or fixing infrastructure. This rewriting of the rules has a direct and often fatal impact on our health.
So, according to a major report from The Lancet, the numbers are just stark. We're now seeing over 500,000 deaths every single year just from extreme heat. That's a 23% jump since the 1990s. And let me be clear, this isn't some future projection. This is happening right now.
And it's not only the heat. As the world gets hotter and drier, wildfires are getting way more common and intense. In 2024 alone, a record 154,000 deaths were linked directly to wildfire smoke. It's another awful, direct consequence of a changing climate.
When you actually put all of these pieces together, the scale of this health crisis is just staggering. The very thing causing the warming, burning fossil fuels, is also the single biggest environmental killer. We're talking about 2.5 million deaths a year just from the air pollution it creates. See, this isn't a separate issue. It's all part of the same massive health emergency.
Okay, so the problem is huge. It touches everything. So what do? What does the path forward even look like? Well, it's basically a two-part strategy. First, you've got mitigation. This is all about going after the root cause. We have to cut greenhouse gas emissions as fast as we possibly can to stop the future warming from getting even worse. And second, there's adaptation. This is about dealing with the warming that's already here and is unavoidable. It's about making our cities and our societies stronger and more resilient.
Now, this is maybe the most important part of this whole thing. This is not an either-or choice. We can't just pick one. If we only focus on adapting, we're basically just letting the problem get infinitely worse. But if we only focus on mitigating, we're ignoring the real dangers people are facing today. We have to do both, at the same time and aggressively.
Because as we get closer and closer to those temperature targets, we are stepping into a real danger zone. Scientists are warning that somewhere between 1.5 and 2 degrees of warming, the risk of hitting these catastrophic tipping points, sudden, irreversible changes like an ice sheet collapsing, that risk just skyrockets.
Which brings us right back to where we started. We are poking an angry beast. We know these terrifying tipping points are out there, but we don't know exactly when we'll hit them. You know how on old maps, they'd write, "Here be dragons" in the uncharted territories? Well, we are sailing our one and only planet straight into uncharted territory. So the question is, do we really want to find out where those dragons are by meeting them face to face?